Hello there, neighbors. Welcome back to Post Projects and Project 818 SRX. As you can see, winter has arrived. It's about a week or so into November, and we got our first heavy snowfall. Fortunately, a few days ago, this car decided it was winter anyway. Get into that in a minute. But I thought I'd update everyone. I had high hopes that midsummer I was going to have some great videos of car driving to show everyone. But unfortunately, that just didn't happen. When COVID hit, I decided to take on a lot of projects: the oil lines, the fuel tank, the transmission cooler, some interior upgrades, not just the fuel tank, the whole fuel system, exhaust leaks, taking the manifold off, and there was a lot of projects. But in the end, they almost all got done. I didn't quite finish wrapping the body, and my plan was, once it was finished wrapped, put it out in the sun, do something like this with a car cover and a big reveal. So I'm going to do a little bit of the reveal, show the color. The car's dirty, it's not worth cleaning. We got lots of plans for the winter, and I'm going to get into that. But first, let's have a look at the car. Oh yeah. Ta-da! I said it was dirty.
Are you stupid or something?
So, it's no longer white, or mostly no longer white. This is the only panel I didn't get finished wrapping. I probably am going to re-wrap this back deck lid. This is the first part I started wrapping. And that front fender didn't go very well. But I'm going to do another video. I started filming it as I was going, and I'll probably film the process of wrapping this, just to kind of show everyone what I was doing. Thanks to Frank in Quebec for the idea here of the black coming out of the scoop. So I was trying to figure out a way to make that look. I was trying to get Factory 5 to give me permission, or give me a digital copy of their logo. I was going to put that here in black. Big thanks to David Potter, who reached out to me. He's on the forums. He's follows me on Instagram. Watches the YouTube videos, and offered these front canards, carbon fiber canards from Factory 5. He messaged me and said, would I be interested in them? And I asked how much, and he goes, just pay for shipping, consider it thanks for lots of the YouTube content. So you're officially my first sponsor. Thanks, man. But overall, everything's turned out real good. I switched to these aero catch latches. Just like them a lot better. Don't like the hood pins. Didn't have a whole lot of faith in the quick latches, as I had mentioned before. And that's, yeah, for the body. We got the front splitter on. I'm going to post some pictures right now of, I did take it out. It has been out in the sun. I have been driving it. So there are some pictures of it in the sun. The back looks just dynamite. So I'll make sure the pictures are floating in there right now. The interior, we've got some upgrades. Let me just bring the camera over. So in here, K-tune shifter, and the cord for the computer. K-tune shifter, by far the biggest upgrade to the interior. Oh my God, it is 1,000 times better. If you're building an 818 and you are considering using the shifter supplied,
no! God, please, no! No! No!
don't. Go to something with reverse cables. You don't have to go to this extreme. This was a more expensive option, but there are options, even from, I think there's another option from Factory 5, but it might also be forward-facing cables. But the rear-facing cables, oh my God, what a difference. I got rid of the handbrake. There's just a button over here now. It's a hydraulic, almost like a line lock towards the rear brakes. I made this center console. I'll put in some pictures now of that process. It still needs a clear coat. I was just eager to drive it and want to take my daughter out for a drive. I got 3 switches here, as I mentioned in the last video. transmission cooler manual on, transmission cooler on with the thermostat or temp sensor, and then the intercooler fan. And all of these are to a relay that will shut off when the front cooling fans turn on, just so there wouldn't be too much load at idle. If those are on, the fans cut in, and the fans don't really cut in unless I'm idle, but I haven't really driven on real hot days. So that's pretty much it. I am going to rework this front. I'd like to obviously match it to the carbon fiber. I'm considering using the Subaru glove box, but those are all things that are not going to get addressed anytime soon. These little carbon fiber pieces are why the door panels aren't on. They are going to be going like this. I don't like how the door panels didn't seem to want to lay on top of the door very well, so I decided to just cut the door panels, and then I'm just going to two-way tape these on top. Once these are done, I got some more sanding to do, and then clear coat this and that and a few other things, but I'm pretty stoked about that. I may or may not do a carbon fiber insert here as well. For this next bit, I thought I'd sit in the car just so you had something better to look at while I talked. And now that I'm in here, I'm realizing I did also put the carpet in. Not a whole lot there, some slight trimming. Not quite sure how I want to fasten it. I tried some Velcro, but it doesn't seem to want to stick to the carpet very well. Anyone's got any ideas? I want to be able to remove it. I did get oil in there when I had that oil cooler leak. I want to be able to take them out and clean them, but I also, nothing I hate more than floor mat slipping underneath your foot when you're driving. So anyone got any ideas, by all means let me know. And I also changed the steering wheel to a bigger diameter and a deep dish. It's just another NRG one. The reason I went with the deep dish is because I wanted to collapse the column. It's quite easy to do. You take it off the end of it where the splines are that tie into the shaft. Just the weight of you pushing on the ground, it will collapse in. You'll have to make an adapter plate. I'll try to remember to put a picture in here, because the mounts now at the dash or under the dash are going to be offset. So I just made an adapter plate that bolts to the mounts, and then the other end of the adapter plate bolts to the steering column. So that cleans up that gap and makes it look so much better. I also did redid a bunch of wiring. I added a kill switch right behind my head here. That's red and easy to be seen from the outside. I added a circuit breaker as well before that, and I just kind of redid my wiring. I had some shorts, I had some little gremlins. I wanted to add in the transmission pump, the intercooler fan, and boost control relays. So I made a little panel behind me to just make that all easier. So yeah, that's pretty much it for upgrades. It was looking like I wasn't going to get to drive the car. I was pretty busy for most of the summer working, or at least the last of the summer. And then I managed, or the weather got beautiful for about a week, up until a couple days ago. And I was the last little push, like, hey, I might be able to drive the car. So the tune I had from last year worked. It's just the base tune from AEM, plus adding in the few things that are unique to this car, the stuff I had set up from the year ago when I had it registered. So I knew driving in cruise was going to be just fine, and the ECU has feedback, which works just fine. Basically, when I say feedback, it's measuring the air-fuel ratio and adjusting. So the tune wasn't perfect, but anywhere in the cruise area, it was able to compensate no problem and keep it running at the air-fuel ratio required, or slightly richer. Was an issue I was having, but there's no damage to the engine, going to be slightly richer. However, I did start power tuning it, or tuning it under load, I should say, which was nerve-wracking. It was an enjoyable process, and I look forward to continuing it, but it can be a little stressful thinking, like all the work you've done up to this point is hinging on a few keystrokes. Some might say, well, why didn't you pay a professional? I'd rather pay for the courses and do it myself. I've done everything else on the car. It came with the wrap. The wrap is not perfect. I'll get into that in a wrap video. Not a rap video, but a wrap video. About all the imperfections and the things that I'd like to redo and why. But that's the whole point of this car. I've learned how to wire. I've learned the bodywork side of things. I've learned so many things. Engine tuning is just one of those other things I had to learn. So tuning it was going quite well. I was doing what's called steady state tuning, which on the road, basically, if you're on a dyno, you would be holding a certain RPM, basically a wheel speed, and a certain gear would say hold it at 3,000 RPM, and then you would slowly open the throttle, and the boost would start to rise. So on the street, you do this with by holding the brake. So basically, 1 foot on the brake, 1 foot on the gas, trying to hold it at a certain RPM. So as 1 foot, as your throttle is opening, you're also applying a little bit more brake pressure and trying to hold that RPM. It's a technique that I learned from High Performance Academy. I highly recommend their EFI Fundamentals course and their Practical Standalone Tuning course. They have reflash ones as well if you're using Cobb or something like that, but the EFI Fundamentals was good, and the Practical Standalone Tuning course is the other one I took that I learned that technique from, and proved invaluable. And I was tuning up to about 4,000 RPM, was roughly tuned. I basically copied the numbers, as opposed to the base map from AEM, I copied the numbers. Sorry if I'm geeking out a little bit here. I copied the numbers from HP Academy's tune, because they use the same stockport REW rotary engine with almost identical turbo. They have the 8474, I have the 8374. There's just the new gen. So I figured it would be close. It was somewhat close. You can't really base VE numbers. I'm at a different elevation, different part of the world, just different combinations. But theirs was all much more efficient, or volumetric efficiency. They're closer to sea level. So that just meant that the car ran richer than on their tune, which was fine. It was still ballpark. So I would do the steady state tuning, log it, make some changes, go do it again, log it, check it out, make some changes. And that was going really well. And I had a little push one evening to get the seat in. I wanted to take my daughter for a ride. And so we went up for a ride, and she was holding a laptop, and we did a little bit more of this tuning, and on the way back I decided to go a little further than that, and basically hit about 5,000 RPM and 10 psi, so I'm approaching peak torque, which is going to be around 5,500 on this engine, I would think, and 10 psi on that turbo. I'm guessing I was north of 300 foot-pounds, which isn't a crazy amount for a rotary by any means, but it was too much for my rear rotor. I've yet to pull it. That's the next project. But I did lose all compression on the rear rotor. Now, rewind a little bit. When I first got the motor, the compression was almost zero on the rear rotor. I put some oil in there, thinking that it was just the apex seal stuck, and I managed to get the compression, after running a little bit, back up to almost 100. It was between 90 and 100 psi on all three phases. But there's no question there that there was issues. There's a reason why it had zero compression before. And my guess is that some part of that rear assembly, whether it's the apex seals, side seals, springs, corner seals, I'm not sure, some part of that wasn't up to the challenge of running under boost. There's nothing in the tune. I had others review the tune. It was running rich, but that's a good thing. There's nothing to indicate in the tune that there's any that it detonated or it ran lean. The throttle was wide open, and the RPMs take a little dip. I'll try to impose a picture showing that moment that it happened. The RPMs briefly dipped. They're not going to completely fall off, because I was still in gear and you got road speed, but you can kind of see that little dip where the RPMs stumble while the throttle is still wide open. And that's the moment when she kind of banged and popped, and I managed to get her started again, and I was only about 1 kilometer from home, and I got her back, and this is where she sits. So I checked the compression, it was no good. The front is still decent, but it's down a little bit. So my only guess would be that it just wasn't up to the challenge. Now, I also hadn't driven the car under load, or besides sitting here idle for a quick blip, it hadn't really seen RPMs that high. Again, only 5,000. It is a rotary. It's going to go to 8, I would say at least. There's other factors as well. Maybe it wasn't balanced. Maybe there was bearing issues. No idea. So we'll open up the engine and we'll find out. As of now, it does not appear to be the tune. And I hope it's not due to any mechanical things I've changed, like the counterweights, the flywheel, some other thing that could have caused it. But I'm glad it happened now and not in the spring. So I've got all winter to rebuild the motor. I'm going to try to get on that right away because there will be some machining work, no doubt. Possibly some porting. Get into that in a different video. But that's how she sits right now. She's mechanically complete, but broken. I will finish wrapping this, but for now the priority is to get that engine out, because there will definitely be lead times on parts and machining. So that's where we're at. Unfortunately, the only video I have of me driving it is this. I really regret I had charged my GoPro and I had planned to take a video the next day. And I regret not having it with me the whole time, because I could have caught that moment and it would have been good. Who knows? There might have even been flames at the back if it was pointed backwards. But what can I say? I always knew it was going to need to be rebuilt. I'm not upset that the motor blew. I was hoping to drive the car earlier this year, and if it was midsummer I would have been disappointed because I would have been wanting to drive it the rest of the year. I'm just glad I got to drive it again this year. I finally got to drive it fast, not nearly to its potential, but my God, it was fast. And it was just coming into boost, and even just trying to hold it back with the brake, doing the steady state tuning with the turbo. I'm not sure how much the engine cover would make. The engine cover wasn't on, but the turbo is right behind the passenger seat, and it is spooling up, and it feels like it's going to suck you in. And then when the blow-off valve goes, just visceral sounds, just like you can feel the vibrations in the car. Like I can't imagine needing a radio in this car. I really can't. It was just, the sounds were just amazing. So yeah, I'll get into the drivetrain stuff in the next video, but I thought I should update everyone. I regret not taking more video of the tuning process. I promised myself I would, and I didn't, and I will in the spring. I'm going to take my time tuning it. I'm still going to tune it myself, still going to tune it on the road. It will see a dyno, but not until I'm done tuning it. But there's my update. Thanks everyone for watching. Until next time, peace.